What up, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Live number 132. Welcome. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day, morning, night, whatever time it is for you. We are gonna have a fun little, just a writing session. To be honest, it's been a busy week. I haven't had a ton of time to do a lot of writing and practice and whatnot the past week, so I've been looking forward to tonight. Dedicated time to sit down, empty my desk of all keyboards and paperwork and things, well, different kind of paperwork, and write. I'm excited. Busting out the white ink again today. I just put on lotion, which was maybe a silly choice right before I went live, but here we are. All right, here we go. First page is gonna get. What's going on, Jay? How you doing? What are you up to this evening? I don't really know what I want to write today. I just want to practice, but I'm wondering if I should do a quote or a poem. Decided to go with unlined paper today, no printed guidelines. I'm gonna work on writing on that straight line. I can appreciate that. That's awesome. Remind me what time zone you're in again, James. I can't remember. I know you're later than me, but I can't remember how much later than me. So yeah, it is close to bedtime for you. I apologize for my streams being an inopportune time for all you East Coast folk out there. Oops. Whoa, why is that line so much darker than the other way? There's something on this nib. Thank goodness for YouTube's ability to just take whatever I do and leave it on the internet. Hello, Diswinny. How you doing? My headphone keeps hooking on. Stop it. Here we go. I was hooked on something under my desk, and this little thing kept pulling my neck down. Why is that line so much thicker than my direct oval? Oh no, that oval's thick too. Just me. That's disconcerting. My line was so nice on the left side. What happened to it? It's the same ink. It's the same paper. It's the same nib. I don't understand. What's going on, Brian? Welcome, welcome. Long time no see. There we go, that's better. Has everybody decided the classes they're gonna take at IAMPITH already, now that they've announced the teachers for next year? Seems like a pretty solid lineup. Ooh. Smooth, please. That's better. Time flies, man. July will be here before we know it. As crazy as that is to think about. What's going on, Skeet? How you doing? Ooh. Yeah, I know she's super stoked, as she should be. Huang is teaching this year as well, which is dope. Yeah, it's a good lineup. Oh, Z, that's a bummer. Brian, you're not going either? Well, I have to admit, I am also not gonna be there this year. I am unfortunately not able to make it this year. My first time ever, and I'm very distraught about it. But it does not work with my schedule at all this year, unfortunately. You didn't hear from me. Maybe I shouldn't have said that on YouTube. Knew that was gonna happen. Yeah, Z, that makes sense. Yup, my presidency's not far away. But it's too early in the summer. I have a regular job that I can't miss at that time of year, unfortunately. It looks like it's going to be incredible, and like I said, the lineup is dope. I hope not too many people are affected by the week. Whoa, what happened there? It's been a weird spot for me lately. All three of these ones got weird exits. Let's move that out. Yeah, you definitely won't be, Z. Maybe in the evenings, when I get out of the theater, I'll I'll do something on the Discord. We'll have little evening groups where we'll do our own late night study room, and we'll convince somebody at convention to load a phone or a computer so that we can quote unquote join in. I'm down to do it. I will be on location. I'll be on tour out of a hotel room or like an Airbnb type of situation, but doesn't mean I can't find a desk somewhere. It'll be potentially late in the evening as well, depending on what goes on. My schedule isn't really my own that time of year, so we'll see. But if I can do something, I would love to. Or people could use the Creatrium and just do live study rooms in there. I don't have to be there for that to happen. It's there all the time. And we can schedule something beforehand. My follow-throughs are not smooth today. Hello, Marilyn. Good, how are you? Ooh, oh, just when you could take a trip to Bali. Bali's quite nice. I would love to go back to Bali. I had a good time there. It was short, but it was lovely. Oh, check out this weird, just when we said Bali, it made me want to write a capital B. Look at this weird B I wrote earlier today. I wasn't really thinking, I was just doodling, and look at this is a very strange letter. That for a neat letter B. The form, I mean, obviously form's no good. I would want this to tuck back up in there, and this to be a smoother transition into there. But it's kind of neat. It's a neat idea. Oh no, well, hopefully you're on the mend, Marilyn. Sorry to hear that you're not feeling well, or that you've been under the weather. Alright, let's work on our capital S for a little bit here. Smooth out that exit stroke. A PB, up, down, small circle, big circle, under. It's like a code. Penman speaking code. What is going on with that oval? That's the exit. That should be the smoothest stroke of all of them. Maybe I just need to relax. Mm-mm. Oops. We are rusty. My hand can tell it's punishing me for not writing this week. Or very much. Gotta smooth it out. What do you guys think? Should we write something tonight? Poem? Quote? What do you guys feel like? What do you feel like seeing today, chat? What do you think? Yeah, that's smoother. That's what we want. We could do. Oh yeah, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Holy smokes! I forgot. Do a happy Valentine's Day. Special Valentine flourishing? Okay, we'll see what we can come up with. Whoa. Leave that there for now. Let's see where we're gonna flourish that later. Oh, a capital D. Maybe we just do Happy Valentine's. Oh, we're planning on where my descender is. Whoopsies. Okay. Go from here, I guess. That one there. Put that one there. Put that through there. kind of a weird angle. And then day is just gonna be normal. Happy Valentine's Day. There's a better way to do that. Ooh. What if I did the heart from this one and had this go straight through? I wonder. We have a Y. We have an S. And we have a Y. What if we brought the heart from over here? Doesn't really naturally go over there anywhere. That doesn't work. What if the S just made... S just made like this shape? Trying to think of how I can make organic flourishes, not just making a heart, but make the shape of a heart in like the negative space. Another ad. I don't choose where they go or when they go. I can make there be another one, but I don't press the button. YouTube wants you to see ads. I guess. What's happening? Ads are happening. That's what's happening. I don't think my negative space idea is gonna work. That could still go off of there. But it's kind of like standalone. I mean, I like that actually. It's not part of anything. YouTube wants you to get out there. Oof. Smooth it out. Shorten it up. That's better. That's enough with this sheet. This sheet doesn't want to be written on anymore. Grab a new sheet of paper. And have some tea. What are some good Valentine's quotes? So instead of just Happy Valentine's Day, something that's a good Valentine's saying. Let's Google some Valentine's sayings, shall we? 60 funny Valentine's Day quotes that will fill your day with laughter and love. All right. Without Valentine's Day, February would be, well, January. I like that one. Could write a song. I could write a song. Do you mean write the lyrics to a song or actually write a song? To compose a song is not very easy. I'm assuming you mean write the lyrics of the song, which I could do. This is true. What's going on, Peter? Good evening. Is everybody ready for Valentine's Day tomorrow? Anybody got big plans? Or small plans? Love stinks. Nope. Hello, Mom. Happy almost Valentine's Day to you as well. What's going on, Jose? It has been a while. No plans. My only plans involve work, so nothing very, Valentine-y. Without Valentine's Day. Notice how I don't always cross the F right at the get-go. When I have an ascender coming up, there's a good chance that I'd hit the crossbar in the wrong spot. So I will often do it this way so that I can plan where my cross is gonna go. Another ad. So what? I feel like my computer hasn't shown me. Normally it tells me when there's ads, and it hasn't come up with any. It hasn't given me any heads up today. There, a quote by Jim Gaff again. What else we got? Oh, some of these are long. The brain is the most outstanding organ. It works 24/7, 365 from birth until you fall in love. True. Okay. I don't think I like this website's layout. I'm gonna look for a different one. Your anniversary is on Valentine's Day. That's fun. Well, happy 31st anniversary tomorrow. That's exciting. I'm assuming you have some kind of... Well, you I guess, have to have plans every Valentine's Day. It's more than just Valentine's Day for you. February would march out of the calendar. I like that, Ojaswini. That's good. Get out of here. Furniture store ad on the phone. What we got? Oof, not a very flat line there. Love is like a backache. Hello, Annie. Good evening. Didn't follow a very straight line on that one. Lips. Doesn't show up on x-rays. But you know it's there. George Burns. Keep that quote. A calligrapher's dream? I'm curious. What is a calligrapher's dream gift, Annie? Are you allowed to tell us? I think I'm gonna zoom you guys out just a little bit here. There we go. You can see how bad that first line is. Doesn't follow the line at all. You can only show us. Posted it in your stories. Well, I'm gonna pause in the stream, going to check out your stories because I'm curious. Instagram. Ooh. A whole fun kit. What's the stamp? What does it stamp? I've never actually done a wax seal, and I really should one day. But what is the wax seal stamp? Do you know? Very fancy. I like all the little ink jars. Some heraldic symbol. Cool. I need to get a stamp for Hogwarts so that I can write people Hogwarts letters and seal them with a Hogwarts seal. I've done some Hogwarts letters for some friends of mine as kids, but I didn't have a seal. It would make it so much more authentic seeming with a seal. Are they? That's good. Good colors and good consistency. Well, well done, Valentine. What else we got here? The secret to a long marriage is to stay gone, says Dolly Parton. I didn't fall for you. You tripped me. I like that. I didn't fall for you. You tripped me. It's cute. Ah. Are you a glass holder fan or a glass pen fan? I've only written with them a couple times and I've never been a huge fan, but they're always so neat. I'm not sure. I mean, I assume they make an official one, but I mean, they sell them lots of places, or on the internet lots of places. It's a nib attached to it. I didn't look at it that closely. So it's not a glass like the glass spiral nib. That's cool. So is it like a glass nib holder? I didn't fall for you. You tripped me. Oh yeah, I like that because I'm not a huge fan of the glass nib tip, so that's fun. It's a glass nib holder. I like that, and it's pretty. Fun, fun, fun. You'll be able to create some magic with it. You'll have to write your Valentine something pretty with it. I'm gonna do some more V's. I need to smooth out that bottom part of the V if I'm gonna be writing Valentine a bunch. Very nice. That's a good plan. I've always wanted, for years I've wanted to, but I never have, and I don't know why. I've wanted to go to the store and get like the little kid Valentine's cards and just fill out a ton of them just to give to like random people and friends and all that kind of stuff. Just for fun. Just the silly kid ones. So that's no kink when I do there, so it's coming out of the shade. It's causing me to stress out. Ooh. Yeah, coming out of that shade messes it up. You gotta keep the fluidity. That little bit. That's the idea. Yeah, that's interesting. So when you say all prepped, what do you mean? Like you could just dip it and it worked immediately? There's no oils? Or, because I know the nib was, or the tip was really nice and refined, but it was pre-prepped is curious. I don't think I've ever pulled a nib out of the box that I can just dip directly into the ink. Was it the Did you get a box? Like, did you get multiple? Are the other ones prepped as well, or just that one that you did first? Curious. Whoa. Smooth it out. Interesting. That makes me curious. What happened? It was very smooth and comfortable up there. What am I doing different all of a sudden? What's happening? Better. Some rough polishing. That's very curious. I want to know if that's why that is, because it's cool. I mean, if they're doing an extra step of finishing, that's good news. But I find it interesting that nobody would know that they're doing that. They wouldn't tell anybody. You should. Out of curiosity, is this Nib an anomaly, or are you doing some kind of new magic that makes us happy? Shade too low. Better. Kink. One more line on this page. Maybe small line. The polishing is curious. I mean, the prepped nature of it is curious as well, but the polishing, that's intriguing. Which reminds me, the current nibs I have I ordered from John Neal Books. I didn't buy 100 like I normally do, but I got some new 101s. Good night, Mom. You gotta deal with all those roses and chocolate. Well, roses and chocolate in your dreams are better for you anyways. Good night. Sweet dreams. I'm not liking this line. That transition, compound curve. Going from this oval essentially into this one. Making that transition nice and smooth. I think my neighbor is learning how to skateboard and is practicing in the parking lot underneath my apartment currently, which is kind of awesome. I love that at 10 o'clock at night, they're down practicing skateboarding. I think that's wicked. Good for them. Knew that was gonna happen. Left the breather hole open. Some sick calligraphy skills on their gear. I think to my neighbors, I'm just a weird plant guy. So everybody sees my plant lights and my plants in my windows. Except now my giant fern that all my neighbors talk about all the time when I'm on my balcony, I think it died. Makes me very sad. The 1 week Vancouver froze this winter was the 1 week that I happened to be out of town, and I forgot to bring it inside before I left because I was in a rush. So it's inside currently, and it might be dead. Currently there's no growth on it, there's no green. It is coming into spring, so it might grow some new fiddleheads, but I kind of doubt it. My giant, massive fern, I think, is dead. Sad day. But I will grow another one to be bigger. It'd be sweet if it came back. There is potentially one fiddlehead growing right in the middle that might be alive. I'm scared to go down and touch it to see if it is because I don't want to mess it up. There might be one of that whole giant plant. There might be one little shoot that's alive, which doesn't mean the whole thing will revive, but it's right over there. You can't see it obviously, but it's behind the camera. But it's inside now under the grow light during the day, and we'll see what happens. Gotta get into this shade quicker and out of it sooner. On average, shorten that shade up a little bit. No shade. Yep. Always know when it's gonna happen before it happens. Hello, Benny. How you doing today? Not really I mean, kind of, I guess, because it's Valentine's Day tomorrow for me. But not really intended to be a Valentine's special. We were just writing Valentine's quotes, and I'm practicing the letter V. I'm pretty good. Just chilling. Happy to be writing. Didn't get a ton of time to write this week, so kind of playing catch up, kind of feeling a little rusty. My relaxation doesn't feel like it's where it needs to be. Like my arm is trying too hard instead of just making the forms. That's better. Just make the form. Don't try. Nope, not good down there. I mean, pizza sounds yummy. Valentine pizza? Will you cut it into the shape of a heart? Whoa, wow. Where's my wine glass? I don't have a wine glass. Should I have a wine glass? Should I be drinking wine? Is that what I'm supposed to do on Valentine's Day? I don't know. I might have wine in my kitchen. Perhaps. Of course, it's Valentine. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a rule. I apologize for breaking the rules. I have no open bottles of wine currently. I do think I have some wine though. Alright, let's get another fun Valentine saying. Lucille Ball. I like this one. It wasn't love at first sight. It took a full 5 minutes. I like that. I do think Marilyn had a few too many glasses of wine already, perhaps. There's a lot of ending T's in this one. Lowercase v has always been a favorite of mine. I like the look of it. N is a beautiful standard. Ads are gonna happen, or just when you're just gonna have to deal with it. They only take a second. Ooh, very smooth bottom there. I am also sad I'm not teaching at IAMPIT this year, but it happens. There are a lot of good teachers, and not everybody can teach all the time. Toothpaste, hand wash, sunscreen. YouTube wants you to travel just when you... It took a full 5 minutes. this one for fun. Lucille Ball. Yeah, my hand is fighting me today. It's not letting itself be fluid. And I don't know why. I must be tense. I've been sitting at this computer for too long, perhaps, today. I need to maybe stand up and do stretches. I'm not going to stand up and do stretches, but I am going to stretch my neck real quick. Because I feel tight. And that's no good. Oh, stretch. We need to be loose, so the writing can be loose and fluid. But my body is tight today. Tim Allen. A guy knows he's in love when he loses interest in his car for a couple of days. We'll write that one just for fun. A guy. I don't think this one really applies to me, as I'm not all that interested in my car. But, meh. That's not how you spell loses. This is supposed to be the S. This is supposed to be the E. Whoops. Can't spell. Oh, nice. Sounds like they're gonna have a wicked day, Peter. Ooh, so your Easter Bunny has good penmanship then with your handwritten tag. Very nice. I forgot the word his as well. Wow, we're just butchering this quote. Well, we'll just put his here instead. And arrow to swap those two. Ah, that's so cool. I wish I had a teacher that wrote cool notes in penmanship or in Spencerian. I probably would have started writing a heck of a lot sooner if I did. What else we got here? Ooh, some of these are really long. It's not love that makes a relationship complicated. It's the people in it who do. True story. Let's write that. Oh wait, I'm supposed to write Tim Allen. I gotta write Tim's name on this quote. Whoops. Why did my hairline all of a sudden turn amazing? What's going on here? This nib is very inconsistent for me today. Tim Allen. Don't know if I have space for the other quote, so we're just gonna do some practices. And then I'll start the next one on another page. Starts with an I, so we'll practice a capital I with a different exit than the one we've done so far. And I gotta smooth out the bottom of my capital I's as well. I don't want a spiral. That's the one I want, but bigger. Okay, that's the exit I want. Now I just gotta smooth out that bottom shade. What? Not smooth. Why not smooth? Oh, check out my new office phone. It's an old rotary phone. I don't know if the camera can see that. So cool. And then it's not hooked up now. I think there might be something wrong with the headset, but it's hooked up to a device that will connect it through Bluetooth, so I can use my phone with it, which is kind of fun. Absolutely silly and unnecessary, but fun. All right, Skeet, have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you soon. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Feels like not all of my white ink is dissolved today, which is bizarre. Shouldn't be the case, but that's what it feels like. Does it have the numbered? Yeah, it's the round. You want to see the phone again? Ugh, not plugged into anything at the moment. That's the phone. So it... So when it's hooked up to the Bluetooth thing, the Bluetooth box is under my desk. It's if I pick it up and dial from it, it still dials out on my phone, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, it's a full-on, like it has a dial tone and everything just through Bluetooth. Love it. I think this nib might be nearing the edge of the end of its life. It's been tuned many times, and the tip is still good, but I feel like it's losing its memory. It doesn't want to come back straight. In wine. Nice. I love it. There's unfortunately, I don't know if it's something wrong with the cable or with the handpiece, but it's not the best audio, and it's not just because it's old. There's something wrong with, I'm hoping it's just a cable, but I was talking, when I called people, it doesn't sound the best, so I don't have it hooked up right now. But the plan is for that to sort of be my work phone when I'm in the office. Just because I wanted one, because it looks cool on my desk back there. True. Well, technically, I can still command Google or Siri to do it, and it would just call through there, I guess. I suppose. Now, we won't put a name onto this one because it's attributed to unknown. Oh yeah, like I hardly touch it, and it's getting misaligned so easily. So I feel like it might just be a goner. In which case, maybe we'll tune a new nib tonight. Perhaps take a pause from writing for a bit. We'll keep this one because might not be dead, but we're going to swap it out with this one. Now this is not brand new. I was writing with this. I think I did a stream writing with this one. Stream? I wrote something with this one the other day. Let's see what it looks like. Stock. Not a terrible hairline, but I think we can do better. So let's tune it up. Tune it up. This is one of the new ones that I just got. That I picked up, or that I got shipped to my hotel when I was in Philadelphia. Yeah, okay. Tines are about even, so just take them both a little finer, I guess. Get the tools of the trade. A T. Put this so it's a solid black background, I guess. Can I do this? I've never done this so that it stays in the camera. Put my camera on autofocus now. All I'm gonna do, so my goal is just to sort of taper in the tip so it just goes to a, not so much a finer point at the very tip, so not so much so that the, like if those are the tines, not so much that this is pointier here, but if you look at it like dead on, I want the front of the nib, if it's split this way, I'm cutting basically a little bit there. So the bottom of the nib that touches the paper is a little sharper. I don't know if that makes sense. So we want our tines to be not exactly this shape, but ideally a little more like that. So the point that contacts the page is a bit sharper. Just a smidgen. Wasn't planning on doing this tonight, but why not? Not a very scientific process. I don't really use anything fancy to do this, other than I splay the tines with my finger, turn the Arkansas stone at a bit of an angle, and then get to shaving. Less is more, so we'll just do a little bit on both sides. Let's see how it looks and how it feels. See how that looks. It's getting there. I splay the tines when I grind them, just because I don't want to accidentally grind the inside of, like right now I'm grinding the right tine. I don't want to grind the inside of the left tine. That will be no good. It's called an Arkansas stone. I got it at a knife shop. I don't know specifically what grit there it is. It had very little details on the packaging. It was just an Arkansas stone. It seems to be quite fine though. It takes quite a while to remove a lot of material if I want to do a more intense grind. But less is more most of the time doing this work, so fine, good. See how that looks. Usually you would use some kind of oil or water on the stone. But I'll be honest, I'm too lazy. An Arkansas stone? Yeah, this was one of the infinity stones. Okay, we'll see if that did anything. Now I take this, which is, I believe, 12,000 grit. Ooh, K-Star, great question. Are both acceptable? Depends who you ask, really. I think yes. I don't think there is a right or a wrong way to write anything, really. It's all sort of a means to an end. It's what we're writing that's important. But if you want to achieve a traditional look, then it is, well, not impossible to use finger movement, because you can use finger movement and go quick. Many of the old penmen put in their books that you're supposed to use combination movement or your forearm movement to write your lowercase, but then other penmen would say that those penmen lied and everybody used their fingers. So it's really basically anything goes as far as I'm concerned. I think the important part is to get fluidity. And I guess because you specifically say whole arm movement, so whole arm movement is where this whole forearm is off the table. Like the only thing that's touching would be my pinky. So that's whole arm movement, which doing the lowercase letters with whole arm movement is difficult. It's really hard. It takes a lot of control. I would wager that most, if not all, penmen dropped their forearm at least when they were doing lowercase letters, and some use their wrist and use their fingers a little bit as well. But with capital letters, I think it's very likely that many penmen used whole arm movement, especially when doing large, complicated signatures and things like that, because it can be difficult to get the reach and the sort of real estate you need to cover with your forearm down. You can get some restriction. Like if I was doing a signature here, I'd tap out at about, that's as high as I can go, and that's as low as I can go, and that's as far as I can go comfortably from side to side. And when I get to those edges, my hairlines are going to be affected. So if I'm doing something that really goes through like 3 capital letters connected to each other, I will lift my forearm and use whole arm movement, because then I can reach all the way over here and I can go basically anywhere and maintain that fluidity. So in a perfect world, I would love to write everything with whole arm movement because it's the most fluid. But lowercase letters are really hard to control with whole arm movement, so I don't believe most penmen did that. So there is no, I guess, yes or no answer to your question. I apologize, but yes, I do believe both are acceptable. At the end of the day, what methods you should use kind of depend on what feels comfortable and what you want to get out of your writing. For me, the most important part is fluidity. I think that's what makes writing look really elegant and effortless. Is when it's really fluid. And it's hard to get really fluid writing with your fingers or with slow writing. You use more of your forearm or your arm. That becomes a little bit easier. Ooh, look at the difference between those two. You are very welcome. That's a good question, and one I get asked quite often. If you want to get more specific with it, feel free to, ask more in-depth questions in there, because that's a very broad answer. I could talk very long on any one of those points that I sort of mentioned. So if you want to get into a deeper or further discussion about it, feel free or join the Discord and ask the question there, because there's other people that are a part of the Creatrium Discord as well that can chime in and give their 2 cents. When I first started doing movement writing or quicker writing, I wrote exclusively with whole arm movement for a long time. I do not do that anymore because it's very hard to control. I think it's enough difference. Just gets the hairline looking a little bit nicer without too much work. What would it take? A few minutes? Nothing serious. It's probably not the smoothest nib now, but that's okay. I could take some more time later and further refine it. It also seems to not want to be prepped, but this is the bad part. I do this and everybody sees this one and goes, oh, I need to grind my nibs. I apologize. But also, if you're a hairline freak like me, you can get, I really want nice hairlines. But then there's people like Mike McCrudgington, for example, who doesn't grind his nibs and his hairlines look amazing. I don't know how he does that. I don't know how that works. I don't get beautiful, crazy fine hairlines with my stock nibs, so that's why I grind them. I do like that this nib has a little bit more rigidity than the last one, so I have to work a little bit harder to get those shades, but that's good because then they won't go all kind of AWOL. They'll only be where I want to place them. What's the difference between forearm movement and muscular movement? Good question. Let me clean the nib here real quick. I'll see if I can. Hopefully my saliva is enough to make it work a little bit better. Hi, UK Mike watching the replay. Also, shout out to all the lurkers. Any lurkers that happen to be watching or people who watch the replay. Hello, everybody. Glad you've made it this far. Lurker Leon, what's up? I don't know if you're out there. I don't know if you watch the stream anymore, but what's up? Okay, so muscular movement and forearm movement. So, forearm movement is a kind of muscular movement. So, technically you could say anything is muscular movement because my fingers have muscles. So if I'm doing movement writing like this, technically I'm using my muscles, but it's not quite that specific, or it's not that specific. What they refer to when they say muscular movement is using your sort of larger, like forearm, upper arm, back muscles to have movement in your writing. So I'm not drawing, I'm doing movement. And to do that movement, I need to have all, like, sort of my arm is moving. So forearm movement is specifically when you do writing, be it, I mean, slow or fast. If my forearm is on the table and this is where my movement's going, so my forearm is planted and I'm writing, whether I'm writing slowly so whether I write slow, amazing. What up, Lee? I haven't said hello to Leon in forever, and he's here. That makes me so happy. What up, Leon? Hope you're doing well, man. Oh, that's amazing. That made my night. That was brilliant. I never expected in like 100 years that you were actually. There's not that many people in here right now. I didn't expect that you were here chilling watching. That's great. That's awesome. So when they refer to movement writing, that kind of means fluid or a little more rapid writing. So a little more rapid, a little more fluid. That's what they call movement writing. Rapid writing, or movement writing, kind of the same. Anytime somebody's writing slowly, penmen back in the day wouldn't call that movement writing. Even though technically they're moving, that's not what they referred to as movement writing. So when you drop your forearm movement, slow is still technically, you're moving your forearm, so you're writing, you're using forearm movement. But what is usually referred to as forearm movement. Yeah, I know autofocus is on now because I'm referencing my hand and whatnot a lot. I'll set it in a second. Because we have, what's going on, Zero? Because our forearm is down, what is referred to as movement writing is when you're using sort of your bicep, tricep, back muscle, your upper arm muscles, and your shoulders and back to propel your arm. When it's planted on the forearm, that is what's referred to most of the time as forearm movement. But movement kind of refers to anything, any writing or muscular movement is any rapid movement that is free flowing and uses sort of the larger arm and back muscles to propel, not slow, tedious things like so. It's sort of my understanding of the whole thing. I use primarily forearm movement, little bit of fingers and wrist, which when those come into play, we call that combination movement. When I do complicated signatures and things like that, I use whole arm movement. So I'm somewhat a practitioner of all of them. If I write cards slowly, I also use slow writing as well, which I don't refer to that as movement writing. It's more so, I don't call it drawing, but it's technically more so drawing, slowly going through forms, using more of my wrist and my fingers. Sorry, long-winded answer. I hope that helped, or I hope that made sense. I am long-winded. Always. Oh, now I'll set focus. Why does it have to be palm down when you're writing business penmanship? So that's another thing where it depends on who's teaching you. I personally don't believe it has to be palm down. The traditional way is palm down, or what we refer to as knuckle up, a knuckle up grip. And the main reason for that is the angle that the nib's gonna be to the paper. And when you have when I rotate my hand here, the fleshiest bit of my forearm is what's on the table. If I'm on the side, if I rotate my hand to the side, it inevitably rotates this bit as well, and I'm more on the side of my forearm, which is less fleshy than the underside. So my understanding is that with knuckles up, you have the most freedom of movement with your forearm. So that's why they train it that way. But there is no right and wrong. You can do, I mean, so long as you're not applying weight with the side of your hand. I use a traditional knuckle up grip most of the time, but if I put my hand to the side, changes the angle that my nib is at and how I hold the pen, but I can still do movement. And anybody that tells you you can't is lying. I'm sorry. There is, if somebody wants to learn traditional writing, I would usually coax them into having or into training, getting a traditional grip, because it can just be beneficial. With movement, and then when you get into shading, it's much easier to shade because your side of your hand isn't on the table already. So you're just resting on the fingers, so the fingers can go sort of down. There's movement for it to go down, where here, not sort of as much, I guess. So there's what was referred to as, or what we refer to as, like, best practices, and then there's, but anything goes really, in my opinion. I wouldn't say that it wears the nib down. One thing, let me grab a straight pen here, or we'll use a fountain pen, for example, just because it's straight. If I get a fountain pen, so here's a fountain pen. What I use for business practice, most of the time business penmanship practice. When I'm writing with the fountain pen, maybe I should use actually a lighter shade of paper. Do I have a lighter piece of paper? What kind of a penman doesn't have a lighter sheet of paper on hand? This is printer paper, but it'll get the job done. Sorry, very white there. So, when I'm writing, if I'm doing business penmanship, if I use a knuckle grip or knuckle up grip like so, my nib is straight. Like, both my tines are hitting the page at the same time, so they're getting worn down the exact same. If I use a modern grip, which is my hand to the side like this, obviously if I don't rotate my pen, it's gonna tip a little bit over to the side. But all you have to do, I mean, it's a round pen. You just roll it and that's where it sits. I've always found it interesting when certain people will grab a pen and because of their grip, it's always angled wrong, and people are consistent. Like, people will sometimes always, the most common, I think, is to turn it, the nib turns slightly to the left. This is an exaggeration, but so the left tine is going to wear down more than the right tine. That is probably the most common way that people put the pen to the page. But it's strange to me that that's a consistent thing, because the pen is round. If you just train yourself to always make the tines straight, this feels the exact same as this, feels the exact same as this. Like, this is obviously wrong. I would never write like this, but the pen and then the grip is the same. When I open a pen, when I take the cap off, when I go like this, you just have to get in the habit, I think, of setting it so that the tines are both even. So whether I use this grip or this grip, the pen just rotates. And then either grip will wear the nib down the exact same. Oof, that is fine on this paper. So, yeah, I think if you have a nib that's like a broad pen nib, for example, you can't just roll it because it affects the tip. Well, no, technically that's still, you can still have it set up straight. if you can get yourself in the habit of just always holding the pen so it's straight, you'll be good to go. Like with an oblique holder, an interesting thing that happens as well with an oblique holder, the oblique holder obviously has the flange, so it has a specific angle that it needs to be at. But again, it's round. We're not touching the flange really. There are people that hold it here, there are people that hold it here, and that's interesting to me because the hold is the same. If you just loosen your grip and get in the habit of what it looks like when it's quote unquote perfectly aligned. So if this is my grip, if I'm using a knuckle up grip, I would hold it like this so both my tines are straight. If I use a modern grip, obviously that's not going to work, but I just hold the pen like that instead. It feels the exact same in my hand. If I have a weird grip, same thing. You just hold the pen like that. So no matter what grip you have, the nib can always be flat. I've never understood that. I've had many people try to explain to me why they have issues and they always tip the nib to one side or the other, and it never made sense to me. Unless you use an ergonomic holder that forces your hand to sort of work in a specific way, doesn't make sense, in my opinion. It's just laziness? Too lazy to roll the pen or get used to what the nib is supposed to look like on the paper, perhaps? Or there's something that I don't understand, and I'm the one who's being silly or stupid. It's possible. I personally believe, yes, there is flexibility in individual practice, I think. There is something to be said, and this is, again, if a student is very serious and comes to me wanting to learn the specific way, there are what we would call best practices, things that I would encourage people to do if they wanted to do the writing in a very specific way. Most people aren't going to put in the time or the effort that it takes to do that. So I don't necessarily recommend, or I don't encourage everybody to change their grip and to do all of these things. But if somebody wants to, there are best practices. But at the end of the day, there was a penman back in the day who had his arms were cut off just below his elbow. J.C. Ryan, the handless penman, they called him, and he was absolutely incredible. He did signature work and his writing was amazing. So if he can do beautiful, amazing writing without hands, then how the heck can I say you have to grip a pen a certain way? Because you clearly don't. But there are best practices. All right, Peter, have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week. What kind of difficulty do you find in your hold, Cyril? K-Star, how long did it take me to master arm movement? I wouldn't say I've mastered arm movement. I'm still working on it. But getting comfortable with movement writing, I will say, I feel like it came pretty quick. I was studying Spencerian at a slow speed for a number of years before I dove into the world of movement writing or rapid writing. So that transition, it wasn't super challenging for me. I think the biggest thing that sort of slows people's journey down is if you have trouble letting go in the beginning. Because in the beginning, your writing is likely not going to look very good when you start going quickly. and you kind of have to, it is recommended that you let go of the quality of what the letters are supposed to look like, and you get used to freedom of movement. So I adopted what I called a zero tolerance policy for a bad hairline. So it didn't matter if my ovals were like really, this is like kink there, like not good, but the fluidity in this hairline, it's not a slow drawn or bad hairline. The line has fluidity. So I adopted that. So I wrote, admittedly, wicked fast when I first got into movement writing. Like everything that I wrote, like this flourish here now, that I would currently do at about this speed, doing something like that to keep it fluid, I used to write that one probably a little more like this. Because that was the speed I had to go to have a smooth flowing line. And then when I got comfortable with that, and none of the lines had any issues, then I would slow down just a little bit, so that I could start having a bit more control without losing that line. Whenever I see little, like, you can see like these little off shapes in my ovals, those tell me where I need a little bit more movement or fluidity. And they're in all writing. You can see the little spots where either there was a gear shift that you can see, or there's a little, I call them kinks, like even if they're not like that, but these little, like, some warble in the line that if I went just a little faster or a little smoother in that one spot, it's not always speed. Sometimes it's if I tense up or something like that, it can cause one of those things. But if I'm completely relaxed and everything's fluid, these ovals should be like these ovals are here. There's no kinks, no anything. They're all completely smooth and flowing. But they're not always going to be, I'm not always going to hit the right spots when I'm going that fast. So again, long story short, it was a relatively pain-free transition for me to go from slower writing into movement writing, because I knew what I wanted things to look like, and then I just went fast until the lines were good, and then slowly sort of trained it back in so that I could control it. And sometimes I go too slow, and sometimes I go too fast. But in a perfect world, I wish I could write slower but maintain the fluidity, which is sort of the challenge that I have now. I want to write slower, but when I write slower, I lose that fluidity in my ovals. And it's interesting, if you I find if I say I have a shower, or I'm playing relaxing music, I'm chilling, I'm about to go to bed, I'm super relaxed, super, call it Zen mode, and I sit down and write, it's gonna be the best writing, because it's effortless. The less you try, the easier it works. If you just go and you don't even try, you don't even grip the pen, you just go down, and all your muscles are completely relaxed, and you just write a beautiful, flowing line. And that works. But it's easier said than done, because we get stuck up here a lot of the time. You get your middle finger strained. Pen hold, sign on the finger. Ah. So does that mean, is your thumb what's pressing? Are you pressing your thumb really hard into your middle finger? I'm assuming. For that, I mean, that's a very common thing, and I recommend to everybody to train yourselves to loosen up your grips. There is rarely a need in ornamental penmanship or Spencerian or any pointed pen writing like this anyways, in ornamental penmanship, to have a firm grip. You don't need it. Only when you're shading, and then you're only gripping enough so that you're controlling that shade. Really, the pen is just sitting in your hand. There's that old story that the penmen used to tell. Like in the school, they had long holders. One of the reasons for their super long holders was the holder would point at the right shoulder. Because back in the day, everybody was trained to do it the exact same way. Again, the best practice that we talked about. So the first thing, people would see the pen pointing at the shoulder. But then with that holder sticking out as well, a teacher could walk by, and as the students are just doing drills or doing their writing like this, the teacher could just come and pull it out of their hand. If the teacher came and pulled and it didn't release, that meant that the student was gripping the pen too tight. So if you're gripping tight enough that you're creating a mark on your middle finger and you're hurting your middle finger and it's getting strained, there's obviously too much tension in your fingers. Can you write with tension in your fingers? Yes, but I would recommend against it because we want to be relaxed. It's hard to be relaxed when you're tense. Counterintuitive, or counterproductive, I guess, really, not intuitive. What's going on with these shades here? Ooh, that was a lovely one. Victory. Hello, Lori. Lori, guess who's in the chat tonight? Looker Lori's here, and Looker Leon said hi in the chat. Leon is here. Happy Valentine's Day to you, Lori. We're practicing our V's currently for Valentine's Day, so we're ready for tomorrow. Earlier, I was writing Valentine's sayings, which I could go back to that again, but then I decided to grind a nib, and I got fully distracted, and now I'm just sort of practicing. Kink. Of course it's real. If Lurker James was here, he would have done a dab emoji at some point. I think Lurker James is off his penmanship off his penmanship enthusiasm currently, but he'll be back. Ooh, too close. I mean, if that's a fake profile, Lurker James did a really good job because he fully brought Leon's profile picture from his other social media channels as well. So it's very dedicated. I don't believe it was fake. currently trying to work on this transition. You can see, I want a little more space between this line and this line. So I want this to go a little more into like an oval. I want it to be a little more curvy. But that's sort of easier said than done sometimes. There was one signature we did during the Sig Sling and Sunday challenges where that transition was almost like, got like super round on top. Like this curve here was so compounded, but it was so smooth. Just looked so good. He's very dedicated to his ruse. But when I get it sort of right up here, I hold the shade too long. And that's not very smooth. Which means it needs more fluidity, or potentially speed. Just a smidge. What do we got for other? We'll do another Valentine's saying. Love is a grave mental illness. Ooh, it's a little extreme, said Plato. Love is being stupid together. I like that one. Paul Valery. I don't know who Paul Valery is, but I like the quote. Not writing on a very straight line for this one. Whoopsies. I'll write Paul Valerie's name just because we are working on V and his has a V. Well, I guess I could have gone from that L right into the V. Oops. Love is being stupid together. Oops. Marriage is like pantyhose. It all depends on what you put into it. Yeah. Nope. One should always be in love. That is the reason one should never marry. Oof, Oscar Wilde. Harsh. Love is only a dirty trick played on us to achieve continuation of the species. Wow. That's harsh too. The thing about Valentine's Day is that people discover who are single and who to feel jealous of. I suppose. Love means nothing in tennis, but it's everything in life. I like that one. I like that one. How we doing? Freshly sharpened nib. Are you still holding the right alignment? Almost. He's close. Okay. Sip of tea and then we'll write it. Very cold tea. A little bit of running hand. But my hairline died and I don't know why. It was really good for that first word. Something's up with the tip of the nib. we're gonna keep going in. It's a good question, K-Star. I do like the idea of flowers and chocolate and all that stuff any old day for any old reason. How do you keep writing horizontal without guidelines? What's the trick? There is no trick. One of the ways that you get better at writing horizontal, it's the dash between letters. So if you've ever seen something that's called a cross drill, whoa, big fiber, cross drills. Or exercises like that, and you do them continuously. And though part of it is you are working on sort of the form of your letters, you are also trying to keep consistent with the line above. I'm on an upward slant a little bit. But once you do a bunch of those, they will turn the paper over or to the side, and they'll do more of them, and you can line up your C's sort of in the middle. So that gets you in the habit of visually following a target that's already on the page. So you can write relatively straight lines that way. So cross drills are a really great way to practice writing on a straight line. And then if there was a trick, the trick that I use most of the time, it's not really a trick, but a technique that I use is this right here. So I call it a glide sheet, but it's just a sheet of paper that is what my hand quote unquote glides on when I'm writing. So it sits over top of my sheet I'm working on. And when I write, I'm usually writing, like if I was gonna do a line, I line up my glide sheet. I mean, right now it's taped to my desk, so it's there. I do that so that I always write. I know where is center for camera, so I'm always writing in a not too high, not too low. It forces my writing to always kind of be in one spot. But if I put my guideline or my page straight with my glide sheet here, my glide sheet has a line. I can see the line that glide sheet is doing. So all I have to do is follow my writing. If I want to go like about there, about that far from the glide sheet, I just try to maintain that line. So the dash is what keeps my writing traveling that direction. The dash between all of my lowercase, that's a habitual movement, so I'm not drawing. When you slowly draw that, it's easy to go off in the wrong direction. When you're dashing, your arm's going to get used to dash, 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 all the way across. And then to get your angle right, because you can also do straight writing, like if I didn't have my glide sheet here, I could be writing, like, sure, my word is very nice and straight, but it's going off in the wrong direction. So that's two things. First, you have to learn to write straight. Your writing has to write straight, and that dash between your letters is going to help with that. And then sort of step two is learning to follow an existing line, basically. Or just like if you didn't have this here, you kind of mentally have to remember where you're going to try to keep that straight. But because I use a glide sheet, I always have that sheet that I can just sort of hover above and follow. So it's like I'm always essentially just following a parallel line from the sheet that my hand is flowing on. So that's my trick. And the breakdown of how to sort of get used to that technique. But step one is really getting the fluidity in your writing, so you're dashing. And you don't have to, it doesn't mean you have to write fast. Like, I write relatively quickly, but let's say I was using a modern grip here and I want to go slowly. I could do my M slowly. Then I could dash. Could do my A slowly, dash. Do my I, dash. Slow, dash. Slow, dash. Because I'm dashing each time, that dash is a habitual movement. It's not drawn. So when you learn a habitual movement, it's basically always the same. I'm now out of sort of my writing area. I'll move my paper over here. So it's less about, in this instance, you don't need to write the whole thing fast. You can write still the letters really slow with all finger movement and all those techniques. But if you can get in the habit of dashing, and this is one thing I'll always reference Michael Saul's writing. Michael Saul writes very slowly, quite slowly, and he always has. But if you watch him when he's just writing, when he's writing, there's a fluidity in his connective strokes that make everything super consistent and clean, and that's one of the things that helps you write in a straight line. That connective line is a trained, it's not like wicked fast, but it's not drawing each undercurve. It's going, going, going. So those are always going to feel the same with a letter in the middle. Get the N in the middle, and then you have that same undercurve. All your undercurves, overcurves, compound connective curves, those you want to be habitual, so they flow out, and when they flow out all the same, your writing will be all the same. And then you can do cross drills and learn to write in a straight line and follow sort of a target line. There's potentially other techniques and tricks and whatnot, but that's the ones I use. No shortcut, unfortunately. Ooh, that was a rough connection there. I'm writing a little bit too far away from myself right now. And it shows. And my nib. My breather hole keeps opening for some reason. It opened again. Why? That's annoying. Oh, I didn't give myself enough room. Do a business penmanship eye on that line. That doesn't fit in at all. That's concerning. I don't know why the breather hole on my nib keeps opening. Quote from Pretty Woman. But what is happening with my nib? Unacceptable behavior, nib. Should be good. Gravitation is not responsible for people falling in love. I bet you can guess who wrote that one. Anybody? It's a pretty easy guess. Why? That's really annoying. It's like some oil or something got on it. It's weird. Good night, Lori. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day tomorrow. shouldn't have to do this, and I don't know if this is going to solve the issue, but this is annoying. The breather hole should not be popping open that often. Especially with a nib that I've used before. It's obviously prepped already. Frustration. Or my ink mixture is no good, but again, I've been writing with this ink for a long time. It should be fine. Give it a quick scrub with some toothpaste and see if that remedies the issue for us. Remedies the issue? That solves the problem. I do teach classes. I don't have any on at the moment. That is another one of the questions that I get asked the most, is when is my next class? And I don't know the answer to that question, unfortunately. I love teaching, and I do teach, but I don't have any courses going at the moment. Have a good day to you as well, Cyril. We'll see you next time. Did that fix our problem? I should definitely be getting more than one capital. Oh, that's better. Have a good one, K-Star. Thanks for hanging out. I think we fixed it. I don't know what was wrong, but seems to be better. I do believe that is going to be it for me as well tonight. Sharpen a nib, did some nice writing. I have to be up very early tomorrow for a long day as well tomorrow. Nothing Valentine's related, but still a long day on Valentine's Day. So I will say thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out with me today. This has been a good one. This was a fun session. I think next week we're going to do something a little more themed, or a little more something, I think, but I don't know exactly what yet. I'm tired or just winning. It's a long day. Thank you again, everybody, for hanging out with me today. Make sure that you are falling in love with the process, and don't forget that life should be just a bit of silliness, really. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your coffee, Yo Swinny. Shouldn't drink coffee and write.